ladies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Amina Margot.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Hello everyone and welcome back to a Vic Akers Wonderland. I am in the host this week. Welcome everyone. My name is Matt Roberts. I hope you're all having a fantastic week. I am joined by, as ever, the magnificent Adam. How are you?
Good. It's been a good weekend. I think we can all agree. Looking forward to talking about a win, which is always nice.
And who can't forget the most important part of the trio. Lottie, how are you?
Who, me? Never.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good. I'm a bit awestruck, and I'm very ashamed of one of my friends at the minute. We were sitting earlier this afternoon listening to a song, and it referenced the rope swing. And her 10-year-old turned around and said to me, "What's a rope swing?" And I was like, "What?" I don't envy the new generation. The 90s kids had the best childhood. Like, I'm a council estate kid. I rope swings, tire swings, everything. Jumping on your mate's BMX with no brakes. That was me. Like, I do not envy the technology generation at all. I wouldn't trade any of that in the world. Although some of the stuff I did get up to was pretty stupid.
But you learnt a lot from that stupidity. You learnt a lot from
but it's a bit like you hurt yourself and you like referenced Limp Bizkit, keep rolling. You just get up and go keep rolling. That's just it's just one of them things. And I look at it and I think you sit on Minecraft all day. What? That's no life. Go outside, kick a ball.
Well, I don't know. Sitting all day on a computer sounds rather appealing to me, but maybe that's just my different mindset.
But as a kid, you've had that time outside.
No,
they don't do that now.
Oh no, I was very much.
Oh, God, I sound so ancient.
I was very much the Minecrafter.
Yeah.
Even though Minecraft didn't exist back then.
Film,
no, of course, but still.
Anyway, so I think we'll go on sort of similar lines. Lucy Bronze sort of opened up about having a ADHD and autism diagnosis. For those that don't know, it's a neurodiversity, so it means basically that they do things where either they're hyperactive or I can't remember the other way around it is. It's you lower brain functionality, I think, is the other way to really mention it. But it's important to put that out there because she's also mentioned now that she's going to be an ambassador for the National Autistic Society. So that's good news. I think someone's actually sort of getting a list of like all those people that are athletes that have got either ADHD or autism, trying to put them into a list to sort of get it out there and to get those talks talking. So that's a good step for diversity and inclusion, isn't it?
No, I love it. Obviously, as a fellow autistic, as a fellow neurodiverger, yes, very good. It was very. I watched the interview, and there's a lot that resonated with me with some of the habits and tics that I have, and it's everyone's autism is different, but there are usually a few familiar traits that a lot of them people with like myself do have, and there was a few I could see with Lucy Bronze things that she mentioned about playing with your hair, about being sort of very sort of talk about her superpower, talking about being really passionate about stuff. And anyone who's hung out with me will know the things I'm rather passionate about, and sometimes they're quite obscure, but also they if they are harnessed can be very beneficial. And there's nothing more than if you're autistic and you have a passion about something, and you meet someone and they are intrigued by your passion, it brings someone no greater joy, because like finally someone gets this one thing that I care about. And honestly, your friends are life, because they'll go, well, I'll list off all the monarchs of England, or all the different fighter jets from World War II, or in my case, all the different football results from a particular season. That's just how it goes. And autism and as you mentioned about ADHD and things like that, they do have a bit of a negative connotation at times. People don't fully understand it. And I do get that, because sometimes when our behaviors and our social etiquette, or sometimes lack of, we can appear rude, distant, ignorant, and not caring. And the truth is we just don't know how to. And I mean, there's a phrase, I can't, it's quite derogatory in some sense, which is, I'll just act normal. Well, in a sense, that is the problem. We have to act. We have to pretend. I mean, Lucy actually mentioned how she used to, Lucy Bronze, she used to mirror Jill Scott when she used to go on international duty and observe what she was doing, so she could understand how to integrate with the group. That's something I've sort of had to do. I've had to learn how to be social, and there are times when I fail even with that. And I hope that with this interview she will inspire others and show that it is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine to be autistic, which it is. But I hope more that people who don't have autism will hopefully become more aware of it and be more, I say, sympathetic to it, because the more accommodating you are to autistic people, the better society is. Because as Lucy Bronze said, it's her superpower. We have these superpowers, and if we can use them to help society will be a much better place for it.
The good news didn't stop there, really. Natasha Dowie is the first ever Liverpool women's player to take part in the Legends match, which was against Chelsea at Anfield. That was on Saturday, so that's huge steps. But it does make me question.
Katie Chapman also played for Chelsea.
You've got Casey Chapman. I didn't know about Casey Chapman, so that's again that's another huge step. But it's just going to get me. Are we going to see a potential Legends lineup, whether it will be, say, an England lineup or against a Wales lineup of former legends or anything like that, to raise charity, raise money
as in women's legends?
Women's legends.
I could certainly think of England players. Wales, maybe not so much.
I was just trying to keep it as local as possible.
Yeah.
It's not going to get that, say, Brazil legends taking on England at Wembley or anything like that.
But
it'd be very niche.
Scotland potentially, although a lot of them are still playing the likes of Caroline Weir and Kim Little and Jen Beattie and so forth. I think with the Welsh,
technically for the Scots, Kimmy would go down. She doesn't play nationally anymore, so
who?
She would. Kimmy, she'd be an option.
I mean, she doesn't. She's still playing for club, but obviously not for country.
Yeah, but
that's
what I meant. The thing is, all right, point taken. I'll shut up.
Yeah, but I mean, for the Welsh side, it's ones like
Sophie
Ingle and Sophie Ingle's still playing, but like Jane Ludlow is not. Or Jess Fish still
Sophie
playing.
Ingle, I think, is Welsh.
Yeah, so I was thinking for the Welsh team. Yeah, I was thinking for the Welsh side. I was thinking Sophie Ingle and Jane Ludlow and Jess Fishlock, but two of those are still actually playing.
On top of that, though, you've also got like Soccer Aid, which is now integrating the women's game this a lot more as well. Jill Scott and Steph Horton are playing this time around for England. I don't think there is anyone yet from the rest of the world that are female players. It's more about
they cheat because they suddenly they take England players and they whack them in the other team. But I mean, I don't get me on Soccer Aid and where I think it's gone, because that's a whole different podcast. But I've no doubt that I think Leanne Sanderson played for the rest of the world. I think because she played in the US. Not the NWSL, but what the equivalent was at the time, because that league folded. But there'll be. I'd like to see players like Marta play in there, or Abby Wambach, or Megan Rapinoe.
Heather O'Reilly has played in the past. I remember that.
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot of retired players that could definitely step up and do a bit of Soccer Aid. Obviously, Ellen White scored in the last one, which was great. First woman to score in Soccer Aid. But the ones I'm looking for more to is when it comes to Soccer Aid is when the celebrities score. So I'm looking. That's the one I'm always more interested in. But the first female celebrity, and they've had some like freestyle footballers go on it before. So I would like to see that happen next, because that'll be the next step.
Well, there was also a bit of bizarre scenes at Walton Hall Park, and I think you both know where I'm going to go with this.
Yeah, they won a game, which was most novel.
Not just they won a game. So after Everton had won 3-0 against Crystal Palace, Ricky Madsen had played a couple of minutes in this game, and they all got into centre circle, and she got proposed to on the pitch. Now, one of the questions I was going to ask was, I didn't want it to be like a debate, 'cause, propose wherever you like, but would you imagine if you'd lost that game 1-0? Like and then that happened.
If they'd lost the game, I don't think they would have done the proposal. I think they would have held off until the next game they won, however long that would be. So I don't think they would have done that. That'd have been silly. I think it would. For all we know, they could have been waiting, because they may have wanted to do it before the Arsenal game. Because they lost that one, they've held it over to this one. So no,
I don't think Ricky Madsen was in the squad for that one. I think she wasn't ready just yet.
Yeah. I don't think they would have done that if Palace had won. But at the same time, I would have been shocked if Palace had won, considering where they are on the table. But that's another matter.
Lottie, just thoughts on proposal at football matches?
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. It's not going to happen to me. So, yeah, no, congratulations to her.
That is the important thing. She did say yes.
Well, yeah.
It'd be a bit awkward if she said no.
Yes.
We should also huge congratulations to Newcastle. 38,502 God, I'm doing it again. People attended the Tyne & Derby at St James's Park. It's huge record attendance, that, and I don't know. I think it was over the Emirates estimate, which I believe was around the 20,000 mark.
We got
35,000.
35. So okay, so a huge attendance for the championship, and even at St James's Park, that's just over half for them. So that's huge for them. As well.
Who doesn't love a Toon and Macklin derby? I know they don't get it very often, and if they get the opportunity, the fans will turn up.
Well, Newcastle won that one 1-0, and there's still an opportunity for them to be promoted if they play it right and everything goes their way between London City Lionesses and Birmingham City.
I would, if I was because I've half an hour championship, I think it's going to maybe lean towards London City Lionesses this time around. Because there's only one spot. Because if there's more than one promotion spot, I'd think there may be, but I think it's the LCL's.
It's not 100% done yet, because Newcastle have those 2 extra games in hand over both them, whereas London City Lionesses only have the 1 game. So it's a wait and see situation.
Birmingham dropped points as well, didn't they? I think they drew 1 with Charlton. So I think I could maybe see where the wind's blowing, but we'll see.
Speaking of promotion, Ipswich Town won 3-1 over Plymouth. They might be promoted into the Championship next season. They've got 4 games remaining between them and #United. But there was some excellent scenes after the game. Those that don't know, Ed Sheeran is a huge Ipswich Town fan. He sponsors the shirts. He's tried to get the women's team up there. Well, tried to put a little bit more sponsorship money towards them so that they can be able to compete. And they had a lovely little moment where he came in the dressing room and they celebrated with him. So great little bit there, Lottie, wasn't it? That you see in.
No, it's a great little cameo of them celebrating. What was the score again? Sorry,
3-1.
I didn't.
3-1.
Yeah, it's nice when you have that sort of win. You can see the benefits of the money he's investing in the women's team and in the Ipswich itself. But yeah, maybe another team's come up in the future at some point.
So let's talk about the game then. This was one of those that I think we were expecting maybe a few changes. So Daphne van Darmselaar came in goal, Casey McCabe on the left, Steph Catley and Lee Williamson made up the centre back options, Emily Fox as the right back, Kim Little and Frida Marnham as the double pivot, while Caitlin Ford, Mariona Caldense, Chloe Kelly made the attacking trio, and Alessia Russo as the starter. Adam, you're going to interject, aren't you, and say that I've got something wrong?
It was the other way around. It was Frida
Mariona,
it was Mariona pivot.
Right, okay.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah. So that it was quite an interesting decision there. But yeah, they put Mariona deep for this particular one next to Little, because and then Frida was in the 10. That's why she was quite further forward, Frida.
Well, originally on the app that I had, it had I
It
think Russo as one of the midfielders, and I was just like, no.
It wasn't Sky by chance, because
No, it
Sky seemed
wasn't
to think
Sky.
Vivian Asaya is
I
a
think
right back.
I think it had Ford as the striker, which can do, and then Russo as the attacking midfielder. I was just like, no, this is wrong. So I've sort of had to swap
Work it
people
out.
around to suggest this is what I thought had happened. But as Adam's pointed out, I was halfway there
Yeah.
with just with two players in the wrong positions. But oh well. Was there just any thoughts between you two with seeing that starting lineup? Was that something that excited you going into this game, knowing what happened in Madrid?
Be honest with you, I didn't see a lineup until I got to my seat.
My feeling lineup was very attacking. So the only fear is how much protection we're going to give the defence, because we know the likes of Olivia Smith's quite pacey on the counter. We saw that in the FA Cup game. So there was a small element of jeopardy. That there was no Velti, no Kyra. They were on the bench. But Mariona operating deep, we've seen that work quite well on occasions. The Aston Villa home game springs to mind. So no, it was. I was actually like you, Matt. Originally, I thought, when we're discussing it, I thought always is Frida operating in the pivot next to Little. That would have been a bit of an odd move, because I remember in the first season of Jonas, they put Frida there occasionally, and I don't think we saw the best of her. So that felt like a backward step. But no, Mariona in the double pivot it was, and yeah, it was a really positive team selection. It was very attacking, wanting, because we're going to need the firepower. Liverpool are a bit of a tough nugget to break down. So I was quite excited by it.
I don't know where to start really. So either I start with the shot on target, the shot that hits the post, or the goal. So shall we just quickly cover Frida Marnin, because she had two attempts that both hit the post throughout the game. She's not having much luck in front of goal at the moment, is she?
I don't know. I think she's a bit hot and cold, hasn't she? She's had some strong points, and then she got that goal away at Manchester City. But she should have scored here twice, definitely. And the first one I have a bit of sympathy for, because she's close to the keeper. She's not too past the keeper. It's come off the post. Second one, she has to strike that into the bottom corner. Obviously, by the time we got to the second one, the game state made it less of an issue. But I have memories of when we had the home game against Liverpool last season, and missing chances in the first half really cost us badly, especially as the game deteriorated. And when Frida hit the post the first time around, and it was such a good effort. I think it was Russo with a back heel on the edge of the box that sent Russo clear. It was such a clear-cut chance that we didn't take, and you just thought, those sort of demons are sort of, it's just going to be one of these games when we just don't score and we miss hatfuls because we were so dominant. But no, I thought Frida operating in that position was perfectly adequate. Her pressing is always very good. It was also very helpful with the second goal. Just a bit unlucky that she didn't score this time around, but hopefully she'll get one maybe midweek.
Well, two goals came in quick succession. The first one from Caitlin Ford, bundling in, shall I say, again, her 50th goal for Arsenal, which is another landmark in another game. So that was it was a fairly good play throughout. Leslie Russo plays Frida Marnin, a little bit of a combination from the corner, and Caitlin Ford then taps in to make it 1-0.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to
let me have this one?
I was waiting, and I was going to say waiting, and I've got nothing. But yeah, go for it, Lottie.
Yeah, no, this one I did enjoy this one. I mean, corner from Chloe Kelly was absolutely superb, and then from like where I was sitting, it was just like it was a free for all for the ball, because obviously I'm up the other end on the halfway line, like just a row in front of Adam, and I'm not tall enough to see. Let's just own that. Whereas some other people on this podcast are. You're looking back on the highlights, and it's just, I feel like it's the right place at the right time for Caitlin Ford. It's not a fabulous, oh my god, goal, but A goal's a goal, and it's exactly what we needed to just be on the right foot that day, especially after Real Madrid. Really happy she got her 50th. Can't wait for more.
I like this goal a lot because of the set piece delivery. We've had so many missed corners from like sort of, don't want to call names exactly, but McCabe's had a few which have sort of disappointed a bit, and we weren't great in Madrid from the set pieces as well. Chloe Kelly's come in and took the set piece, and that gives me a lot of confidence. It was a really good delivery from her, and the key thing is we won the first contact. We won the first contact from the corner, and Liverpool just didn't defend it, and it was a bit pinball. Was a bit pinball.
Yeah, it was very much pinball, but it was also, funny enough, it was Frida who got the assist.
Yeah,
she managed to get the ball to Caitlin, although she hit the post twice.
Yeah, I don't mind this. Like I said, it's always funny, this graphic goal. It always reminds me of the Chloe Kelly goal against Germany. That will always stay with me. It doesn't matter how the ball goes in, as long as it does. You can't be snobbish in these situations. And it was just, I like a set piece goal. I mean, maybe it's just because of the Arsenal men and how they've become set piece FC. I'm glad to see that's coming over to the women's side as well, and we're getting a few more from the corners because that was a bit of a struggle for us last season. But that's actually the first ever goal we've scored against Liverpool at Emirates Stadium at the third game, third time of asking. We finally scored against them, so that put me in a good sort of mental frame of mind because we were actually taking the chances. 1-0 to the Arsenal.
And a minute later, 28 minutes on the clock, it's a 2. Again, combination play. Again, Caitlin Ford making it 2-0, although it was eventually given to Ginny Matthews as an own goal. But there is a question.
Isn't it Jasmine? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know where my head is at the moment.
It's all right. No worries.
Yes. Anyway, Matthews gets a touch to it and it trickles in. But there was a questionable free kick for Liverpool before that because Caitlin Ford fouls Sam Kerr on the review. It's from Adam's face, it's 50-50. It's one of those, I think it's 50-50, either it's given or it's not.
I mean, given that the bar is Grace Clinton pulling Aston Villa's player's shirt on the halfway line and then lobbing it, and that was given as a foul. If that's not a foul, then this most certainly is not a foul either. It is, as you say, Matt, 50-50. It's a bit of strength shown. It's Arsenal's high press, calculated. They saw the moment, they swarmed upon her and won the ball. And in those situations, what I loved is when you get a turnover, it's think forward. Don't think possession retention, think attacking. You have the defence misshapen. The defence is looking to play out. You've caught them in the transition. Take advantage of it. And you had Kim Little, who was with made the overlapping run. Arsenal moved the ball very, very quickly. And it's a bit of you were there, Matt, for the Everton game. It was a bit like Maren Mjelder's own goal as well. The way the cross comes in, forwards in proximity, and the defenders obviously tried to defend it, and sadly has provided the perfect finish. And I mean, obviously the Tannoy gave it to Kim Little. Sadly, it wasn't Kim Little's goal. Kim Little's wait for an open play goal goes on. That's 2 own goals that's Kim Little scored though. We had one at Chelsea last season. I love it.
Give that to Kim Little. It's not an own goal.
I love a quick fire double. I really do, because it's like it's like putting in like a video game. You put like a combo ×2 multiplier on. You're still riding the high of the first goal, and then the second one comes in, and it just feels even better. And after that time, I think that double punch just wiped Liverpool out, and it was all about the rest of the game is how we managed it. But really liked it. Really loved that high press turnover. The intensity, just Liverpool were just too slow, too flat, completely flat, at low energy. We took advantage of them, swarmed over them, and made them suffer for it.
Lottie, that second goal.
Yeah, no, the original play that comes through from Alessia across to Kimmy. I think it was an Alessia.
Yes.
Yeah. It was just a work of art, really. And then you look at the way that Kimmy kind of crossed it. We actually genuinely it looked like Kimmy, and then obviously all the sports that went going off. No, Jasmine Matthews, and I was like, okay. And you look back at the highlights, the whole 3.5 minute highlights Arsenal have posted of that game, and you can see where Jas Matthews just tries to block it and it just bounces off her foot. She was. I think she wants to come play for Arsenal. She's in the wrong shade of red at this point.
39 minutes. That was the first time Liverpool had a shot. It goes over the bar, but it was their first shot. I think that was a bit of a surprise that it took that long for Liverpool to actually have a shot at Arsenal's goal. Wasn't that? But just before half time, I will say this has to be the goal of the game for me. Mariona Caldente, 3-0, picks up the loose ball from Liverpool failing to clear it, and she just curls it into, I wouldn't say into the top corner, she just curls it round, and it's just really
She just
well
curls it around
placed.
Rachel Lords. It's so goddamn beautiful, and it's one of my favourite type of goals. Frida's given me 2 now. Mariona's given me this one, and it's just. I remember standing there and I'm just watching the ball, and it felt like it was all in slow motion. You just watching it go round, just round Rachel Laws, and she's got her fans behind her, and she feeds off that. And for it to go in the way it did, it was just, it was art.
It was
was
one
art,
of those.
but
Yeah.
you've also got a kind of. Oh, go on, Adam.
No, go. That's fine. That's fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
You kind of also got to look at the build-up play. You've got Frida, and then it comes across, I think, over into Caitlin Ford and the cross in, but really bad failed clearance. And it was just, as a right back, I look at that and I think, what the hell are you doing? Just get it behind the goal. Give Arsenal a corner. It's a lot safer than to leave it at the feet of Mariona Caldente.
I from where I was sat, what I loved about this goal is I could see perfectly the trajectory of the shot, and I knew from the moment Mariona had taken the shot that it was going in, because I knew Laws was stuck on the other side of the goal. She wasn't going to get over in time, and I think the slow motion thing, as you say, Lottie, is right, because it's almost like you know it's already a goal, but you're just waiting for it to be a goal, and it's that
excitement, because I got that when Frida did it to Bayern Munich. Is Bayern Munich? Yeah. And it was just like, it was cold and wet that day, and it was just like, oh my god, we got another one. There's something about curlers and the clock end at the Emirates.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's you're just waiting for the ball to hit the net, and you know when it does, it's going to be special. And it's you're just watching it just sail into that top corner, and it's a majestic goal. I should say the build up to that goal was really good. The passing that Arsenal have in the Liverpool half to create the effort, and obviously it's a poor headed out clearance straight to Mariona, but the quick feet of Mariona to get down with her feet and take the shot, and I just was always thinking, 2-0, and thought, because I'm always a pessimist and I'm always waiting for something to go wrong. But the moment it got to 3-0, I was like, that's it. That is it. The game is done. The game is over. That is finally a win over Liverpool. Second half is going to be formality, because there's just nothing. There's nothing here to suggest it's going to be anything else. And it was just the perfect ending to a really strong first half from Arsenal. Probably one of our strongest first halves maybe this year, I'd say, maybe up there with Spurs, but I don't think really. But yeah,
nothing can top that. Go on, be serious.
Well, say that, but Spurs was only 2-0, wasn't it? We were only 2-0 at half time against Spurs, so it was.
But you can see at half time they were already collapsing. I've been watching them most of the season, because obviously I've managed to get my stepdad into watching the girls as well, added to his misery. And this against West Ham especially, they got absolutely terrorized. They're not a team, they're individual players. And there's just the glue's missing, and something's not working there.
I think this one meant more because the fact of the history from last season when we didn't win at home, and because Liverpool had just come off the back of a really good win at Anfield at Man United. They're on the up were on the up under Amber Whiteley.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned your stat yet. I'm waiting for it.
What's that? What, the fact
we
that
finally beat them at the Emirates?
Well, yeah, I did. Well, yes, but I was going to wait until the end when we had just got to the end. But yes, you're right. It was before then. We got our first goal. We were 3 goals up at half time. Obviously, we did win. So yes, it's our first win over Liverpool at Emirates Stadium. Finally got that monkey off our back. Man City are the only remaining unbeaten WSL side, so we've got to take them down next season. Sadly, they're the next ones on the list. Probably the strongest first half against a team like Liverpool, I think, are a better side than Spurs. So that's why I think it's a better first half. And it could have been more. So freely at the post twice, it could have been 4-0, could have been 5-0 if we're a bit more ruthless in that final third. But yeah, 3-0 wasn't complaining in the slightest at half time.
Well, we'll go on to the second half, and it was one of those where we didn't know what was going to happen, how people were going to react, how both teams were going to react. It was eventually decided in the 69th minute. Well, I say decided, 4-0. Leah Williamson lofted through ball for Beth Mead, and this time Matthews once again goes, you know what? I'll do it again. Score an own goal, and at this, I don't think. I think she might be considering that move, Lottie. Actually, at this moment in time,
It wasn't her day. I'm surprised she wasn't hauled off at half time, but Amber Whiteley says she has faith in her team and she was really proud of them in the last game. But I don't think that day was Jasmine's day, so to speak. Yeah.
It's another own goal. I mean, we had Claire Hunt at the in the Spurs game, and the last time we were at Emirates Stadium. We had obviously Maren Mjelde in the Everton game, and now we've got 2 from Jasmine Matthews. It's absolutely wretched day for her. Of course, I was hoping she'd get a hat trick. but
absolutely sublime for our goal difference.
I think that would be the first time ever in WSL history that someone scored a hat trick of own goals.
It would be outrageous. Goal difference, and we know goal difference is going to be crucial because obviously we're tied with Manchester United, who also got a 4-0 win in their game that was against Aston Villa the day after. And also I think it's the first time, I think it's 6 games in a row. First time a team's gone 6 home games in a row with four goals or more. Admittedly, again, you could look at the fixture list. We had Chelsea and Manchester City really early on in the season. We got Man United at the very end. These are very much the games in the middle. But we are winning them comprehensively, which is a really positive sign, considering how much we toiled against such teams last season at home. And Villa and Spurs at home spring to mind. Beth Mead off the bench. Does the right thing, hit the ball into, in inverted commas, the corridor of uncertainty where the defenders can't defend it and the attackers want to profit. And obviously Jasmine Matthews does her best. It's to freak deflection, beats Laws at a near post, and everyone wants it to be Mido's goal. I would love it to be Mido's goal. It wasn't Mido's goal, sadly, but it the game was over at half time. This was just a bit of gloss on the end. For something to give to the fans who are still in the stadium with 20 minutes to go, just sort of perfectly sort of cancelled out the 4-0 loss we'd suffered at Liverpool all those years ago. This sort of 4-0 this time around. Justice has been served, and hopefully a springboard for the future of the season.
Just on Beth Mead, because I mean, you did raise it there. She's actually fairly consistent with her goal tallies. I've gone through the past in the WSL. She's only really managed like the 5 or 6, bar Jonas's first season where she got 12 in the league. She hasn't really managed to carry on that sort of scoring form. And is it a bit of a do you want to see more consistency from her, or is it just a case of she's got to now decide that she's got to be more versatile in what she does, attacking and defending then?
I think with Beth at the moment, in Jonas's first season, she was in the form of her life, and we know why she was in the form of her life. We know what her motivation was, and it was obviously meant a lot to her, and led to the Euros, and that was sort of the perfect conclusion to that incredible run of form. And saw her be Ballon d'Or nominated. I think she got to 2nd in the end, and could have been more. But she's always been a consistently good player. And had one really good season, but I think this season the difference is that she's not the first name on the team sheet. Whereas in Jonas, she was the first pick. Every time if Beth Mead was available, Jonas is starting her, and so she got a lot of opportunities and got a lot of goals. And she's, like I said, immensely talented. But this time around under Renee, obviously, I don't know if she is still as sharp as she was pre-ACL, but we've now got the likes of Chloe Kelly and Caitlin Ford as options on the wing. We've obviously got Mara Cordente. We'd like to play there as well. Chloe Kelly started. It looks like that's the way Renee might be leaning. So obviously there's less opportunities. I don't think she's been on the red hot form maybe of before, but the fact that we are seeing her on the bench more suggests she's not as undroppable as maybe she once was, and that's maybe it's a form thing, maybe it's just a post ACL thing, But at the same time, we're not overly reliant on Beth Mead as maybe we were in the past. Beth Mead was getting us through quite a few games. Like I said, in that first Yona season, I think of that game at home to Chelsea when she got 2 goals and she was the deciding factor. But we're sort of ticking along quite nicely. And she's not as crucial a cog in the machine as maybe before. But I've no doubt that she'll chip in with the goals. I don't know. Does this count as an assist if you get an own goal off a shot? Does it count as an assist?
It did in fantasy football.
Well, there you go. So,
I can confirm that.
It all adds up. So she'll have a major part to play in this team between now and the end of the season. I've no doubt. She isn't playing as many games, but that's not a bad thing because the last thing you want is overexposure on the player because, as we've seen, bad injuries can happen. She's just got a stronger competition of places now. She's now got Chloe Kelly, challenging her for that right wing spot, and I think that's a fantastic contest to see and see how it plays out for the rest of the season.
I can't go without talking about 308 days later. Victoria Pelova finally steps back onto the Emirates pitch for Mariona Caldente. It was just one of those moments, Lottie, that when you finally get to see them again, your day makes it a little bit brighter.
No, it is that. It's also sort of like homecoming in front of all the fans that usually attend Meadow Park. She had such a good breakout season before she done her ACL, and I'm watching her for those few minutes. It was like nothing had changed. It's like she's never been away. I even turned around and said to sort of Miles, who I was sitting with, and so I said, I've missed her. There was ways she just went charging at people, and it's just absolutely fearless, even though she's just come back and it's her first minutes. It's just absolutely unreal. I think I was sitting with one of my friend's kids as well. She's only about 9. She said to me, "Why are you so excited to see Victoria Pelova?" And I said, "Just watch her play. I don't need to explain why. Just watch her play." And by the time that game finished, she said, "I want to see more Vic Pelova." She's 9 and she knows what she's looking at.
It's that dynamism, isn't it? It's that like pocket rocket energy in the midfield, and at times it has felt we're a bit sort of low energy, and she offers
that ruthless backbone. I love a ruthless backbone, and I know we've got Kate in the back, but Vic Pelova is that nasty backbone when needed. I mean, we saw. I'm not going to let it go. Leah Volti's a prime example, but we now all love her. So we'll leave that
she's got this lovely persona that everyone loves. I mean, the players were supporting her when she had that comeback game with the under 21s, but we know she's got an edge. She's not. She's like a smiling assassin, and I love that
smiley assassin.
Yeah, and what I love more is her recovery has been, I think, a lot smoother compared to the likes of Beth Mead and Viv Miedemar and Leah Williamson. She hasn't been rushed in. There hasn't been a panic to get her back in the team as quick as possible. She's been sat on the bench for a while. In fact, she said in the interview afterwards that was actually been the worst bit of her recovery, is being on the bench and not being let onto the pitch. Just the games unfortunately have not allowed her to. We've had close games against West Ham. We've had the loss against Liverpool. We're losing against Real Madrid. Everton away wasn't really settled until the last few knockings. This was the perfect game. The game was dead at half time. Gave her the second half, and she looked great. It was a great pass. I think she played. I think it was to Chloe Kelly. There was a really good through pass she's got. I would have loved it if she got a goal. I would have chef kiss rounded off the day. But
I do wish that goal went in though. I was sitting there like, it's that close.
Yeah, it's that close. But there's still time to the end of the season. I still think there's time for her to have a positive impact. I would not be surprised if she had a critical assist or even a critical goal between now and the end of the season. Maybe against Bayern Munich. Who knows? Bayern Munich, that was last season. That was 2 years ago. I'm getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Could be the semi-final. No, I was thinking of 2 seasons ago when it was with Frida and Stina. No, against Real Madrid, I should say.
So do we think she's going to get minutes for Real Madrid, or are we going to have to wait until Crystal Palace away on Sunday?
I wouldn't be surprised if she came off the bench. I don't think she's going to start. That would be a bit too much, but it depends. Again, it depends on the game state. If we're rolling away ridiculously, prime I would say prime Barcelona, but then again they lost to they beat Barcelona, so that wouldn't tally.
Yeah,
but
for the first time.
Yeah, if we were streets ahead, say I don't know, 5-0, 6-0, something stupid, that's not going to happen. Then maybe we'll see her come on. But I don't think she'd be brought on if we're having to chase the game. I think that would be unfair on her. And yeah, but I think a few sub appearances. I think that's not the last we'll see her Pelova this season. Obviously, depends on the game state. But we have missed her. We've really missed her in midfield. And, we've had to play maybe Kim Little and Leah Velti more than maybe we'd like because of the lack of options in the midfield. That's why we've had Mario Caldente dropping so deep to become that fourth midfielder. Great to have her back, and much loved return. I got the foot of it. It reminded me when Chloe Kelly came off the bench against Spurs, that roar from the stadium, and again that made it all even more perfect. Getting in with 35,000 fans cheering your return is always a bit better. So congratulations to Vic Pelova, and I look forward to seeing her in her next game for Arsenal.
Well, that was the Saturday, and our opposition, as Adam has said, is not Bayern Munich.
No, it's not.
It is Real Madrid. They had their El Clasico on Sunday. It'll be midday their time, so lunchtime on DAZN. They beat Barcelona 3-1 in the end. Alberto Redondo with a header. Caroline Graham Hansen also got a header to pull one back for Barcelona. But Caroline Weir right at the end scoring a brace, or those that don't know the word, a double towards additional time with Linda Caicedo, Lottie getting the assist for her. In this game, just so that those that don't know, in this game, it did look like Madrid had rotated quite a lot the squad. Caroline Weir, for example, and Linda Caicedo coming off of the bench. So it kind of suggests that Madrid were resting a lot of their players. They weren't expecting the win that they got over Barcelona in Liga F this year, but it does also reduce their gap on Barcelona. I believe that's now 5 points.
Yeah, Barcelona, I think, only lost once this season
to Levante.
So it's 2. But I think Real Madrid may have only lost twice as well. It would have closed the gap, but I would still back Barcelona to win the title. I think both sides have rotated heavily though because of the Champions League commitments that are coming up next week. Obviously, Barcelona have the home leg against Wolfsburg, although given the fact that they're going in with I think they're 4-1 up. I think, was it 3-1 or 4? Yeah, 4-1 up. 4-1 at home to Wolfsburg. I know where I'll be putting my money. Real Madrid obviously are going to go full strength against us, which I totally get. It's a 2-0 lead. They're going to want to,
Adam, you was correct. Real Madrid have only lost twice. They've lost twice. They've drawn twice. Won 19.
Yeah.
And then Barcelona have won 21, drawn none, and lost 2.
So it's a draws. It's a draw. So that's a 4-point gap, is it?
I can't see the points at the minute.
No, never mind. I'm just running off the top of my head. But but it's the fact that they're going to be going 4 points. Yeah, that makes sense. So they close the gap, but I would still back Barcelona to see out the title. Of course, if they fumble again, I mean, if we were saying in the previous pod, if Real Madrid, that awful chap Perez, if he wants Real Madrid can bend the Bernabeu, they win a title. Well, if Barcelona collapse from here, maybe they will win the title, and then maybe we'll get the Bernabeu. So we'll see. I would, that they've obviously gone.
What? I'll be honest with you. I hope they do it, because then he'd have to keep to his word.
Force his hand.
And then, it will. And if he doesn't keep his word, the whole of Woso is going to go after him. That's just a fact.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter which club you support.
Yeah. We're all in this together, as I believe a famous Disney-based musical once said. Real Madrid have obviously gone arrested because they're going to go full strength against us, and I think that's going to make it a very exciting game. Should say also that there was a lot of inclement weather in the Barcelona Real Madrid game. There was hailstones, I believe. I believe that Lottie's lost it for some reason.
So there was just something on screen. You'll have to watch it back. Go on.
I think
I moved my mic away from my face, and basically my headset fell off my face when you weren't looking.
Oh, I wasn't.
Matt was looking at me. I looked at him, and we just started laughing. And you weren't. You didn't see anything. It was just hilarious. Sorry.
Well, I was saying we had was it rain against in the Real Madrid's place? They had hailstones at the Camp Nou, so I'm expecting brimstone and fire when they come to Emirates Stadium. But if the weather's fine, I would think we too will be fine, because you can't get, cyclones and thunderstorms and in every single game for Real Madrid.
Well, the weather better be good, because I've got like third row seats and I'm going to get soaked.
I think someone's actually looked it up and they said that it's not going to be it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. It'll be nice and dry.
Good.
I believe that when I see it.
We should just quickly talk as well, because going on from Perez, there was a little comment about that they didn't feel confident that our case was that strong, because the likes of Newcastle United bringing in the money from Saudi Arabia and the likes of Wrexham as well, they profited and made their, instead of I think Newcastle now worth 2 billion, and now
but
Wrexham is
owned
worth
by
over 100.
Yeah, it's a Saudi fund, isn't it? It's a Saudi supporting fund, so they got a huge money reserves that they can play with. Although they're not obviously going to put it all in at once, because there are obviously financial rules. This is obviously the comment you mentioned in the previous video, sort of saying about the need to make profit. And there is an element, you do need to make money to cover your running costs. You can't run a club into the ground on a permanent loss. I mean, I look at clubs like Reading. Look at where Everton were, and we went a business, and obviously the Reading club, Everton rather, who were very much on the slide until their new ownership has come in. So there is an element, you have to spend responsibly, but the key thing is that you don't run a club at extreme profit at the expense of the team. If you're making high profits on a team but your team is suffering, that's wrong. If you're making profits, your team's doing great. That's absolutely fine. You have to be able to make a profit, obviously, but it's being responsible financially. I look at Spurs and Daniel Levy, who was saying, "Oh, we've got these great revenues and we're making this amount of money," but your team's like in the bottom half of the table, and your women's team are just not winning games, which we saw. Obviously, they lost again against West Ham United. That's why my frustration with Real Madrid is they're boasting about all these profits and all this money they're making, but they're not actually. But the women's team is suffering because they're not focusing on that. And if you're losing a bit of money, but your team is progressing and doing well, that's great, because what will also mean is that you'll guarantee future profits based on the progress that the team makes.
We also just point as well. Oh, sorry, Lottie, go on.
Go on, Matt. Sorry. Go on.
No, I was just going to bring up the point that you look at how Arsenal are marketing. They're now reaching out to people like Persil for the ads that they've run outside the Emirates this last weekend, about how all dirt is good and things like that, and they're becoming topical points that can then be marketed in different ways, whether they mean to or not. It's almost like creating your own revenue through different things that people are doing. If Laura Vignerotti was still at the club, though she's now at Man City at the moment, whenever Down Syndrome Day is on, the amount of marketing that might go into that, to say, like, look, wear odd socks that day to help promote it, that would probably give you even more a revenue stream, because it's you could do buy one pair of Arsenal socks and get another free or something like that, and you just swap them over. Something simple like that you can create with different players. It's just marketing them and making sure that you can increase that investment to make sure you're getting something back from them. Sorry, Lottie, you wanted to.
No, I think, as much as I appreciate Mark's comment in the chat, I think we need to actually think about, this is the women's game and we're not at that level yet, and Real Madrid are looking to tighten the purse strings when they're making at least €1 billion a year. They were the first team in 23-24 to make €1 billion, and they're complaining of parting with 8, which I think is applied to this year, and then next year is 10, if I remember rightly. I probably got that wrong, because that's the plan they've put down with the Liga F. And I feel like it's the case that they don't want to spend the money, they just want to make the money.
Yeah.
Because the women's game's growing, you're not going to make any profit at this point. You're just not, because it's growing. Unless you're Barcelona and you've got the Champions League final, that's the only way you are making profit, because those fans will turn out in thousands. They will fill up Camp Nou.
Mm.
No problem. But we're yet to see what Real Madrid does, because they haven't got that far yet. They are looking to get in the history books if they get past us on Wednesday. They're looking to go into the history books. They've only beaten 3 out of 11 English sides they've come up against, and we were the 3rd. So there's a lot riding on Wednesday.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'll look on the other side of the coin with Arsenal. We had the Camden Brewery promotion in the Tolly. They were doing a bit of work with us, and obviously there was the beer being given out, and there was bespoke lagers there with the Arsenal team printed on them. But that's only been able to happen because of the work that's been happening. This wouldn't have happened 3 years ago when we were only getting a small portion in Emirates Stadium. You have to invest the energy because of the potential in a few years' time. If you can only see the profits in the present and just say, "Oh, women's team isn't making any money, so we're not going to invest into it." So, of course it's not, because you're not. It's one of those, like, it's a catch-22. You have to suffer now for the future in a few years' time. And Arsenal have shown that because of what they've sacrificed maybe in 3-5 years ago, maybe on the money side. As you mentioned, Matt, there's the personal stuff that's come through, and the advertising there, and there was obviously the stuff that was painted on the walls, and that's another. It's a promotion campaign for a great cause, but obviously revenue wise, Personal are going to make some money out of that, because that's their name on the promotions. Camden are going to make some money with the bespoke women's lagers. No doubt we'll be seeing more of those. And as anyone knows, in women's football, women's merch is very, very popular, so that's always a good sell.
And Arsenal have a new range every week.
Well, absolutely. There's always especially
also,
after a defeat, especially if we lose
they've
midweek.
also just done a deal with, is it After Studios for the Beth Mead collection?
Yes.
Yeah, up from the
that's
Arsenal.
another range that's just come out.
So
I think
I'll have to look at that.
it's also important to remember that with Newcastle, they might have been bought for 305 million in 2021, but it's taken until this point to be £1 billion. That's 4 years. That's a lot of time and a lot of investment. And I think I hope Real Madrid win the league just to upset Florentino Perez, because then he's got no excuse. I really do, because that team deserves to be at the Bernabeu. And once you get that team into the Bernabeu, the fans will come, as long as they can maintain what they're doing and they know what their future plans are. The team seem to, the hierarchy doesn't.
Yeah. No, that's
Just going
That's
into
the best way I can sum that up.
just going into this game then, just quickly, do you think that because of how everything ended last time, do you think it is turnaroundable? 2-0 down.
Absolutely.
You are seeing other teams as well in the Champions League 2-0 down at this moment in time. And last year, Wolfsburg, you're 4-1 down and have a mountain to climb.
Well, history tells us it's possible. We've done it twice before, against Torres, and more recently against Rayo Vallecano. Although that was we're talking like 2010s or 2011 sort of era, but it can be done. We just need to have a similar approach to when we played Bayern Munich in our last quarter-final we had at Emirates Stadium, and what a memorable evening that was. Admittedly, it was just the one goal we had to claw back, but we got up to 2 goals pretty sharpish, and then the rest of the night was sort of played out as it needed to. It can be done. Whether it will, again, I'm the pessimist, so I'm always prepare for the worst, be surprised by the best. I wouldn't be surprised if it went the distance to penalties. We should say that obviously there is no away goals in this, so it's pure aggregate win or not. It would be one of the great European nights if Arsenal did it under the lights, Emirates Stadium. I think it's just over 20,000 tickets sold already. So if you haven't, please do get a ticket and come along. We need to make this a cauldron. We need to really ramp up the atmosphere, really put the pressure on Real Madrid, on the officials. Make sure we get we want the decisions to go away. We want the goals to go away. We want the result to go away, and we can have that influence from the stands. If Arsenal did it, if they are on it, if they play like they did against Liverpool, get to 3-0 at half time, I'll be a bit more confident. but it will be a major task, and I would imagine that Real Madrid are going to put in the deepest low block you have seen in your life to hold out for that 2-0.
I think the Oscars are going to be out too. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Massively, and that's what worries me about Vic Pelova. Thing is, we've got home advantage. We need those fans to be loud and proud because Adam, you saw the crowds at Real Madrid's ground, Alfredo. Estadio Alfredo. I've forgotten. Estadio Alfredo. I'm just going to call it that because I've forgotten the rest of it. But what were they like in terms of support?
They were good. I mean, we gave it the best we could, but when they scored, they made plenty of noise, and there was plenty of cheers at the end of it. I've no doubt that Real Madrid have the support. Don't know what kind of numbers they'll bring to Emirates Stadium, but those that come along will make it noise. It's Spanish football, and as we all know, that we've seen Barcelona and their fans. It's not to that level, but they will certainly make a noise and be supportive. And if Linda Caicedo performs as maybe she did in the previous leg, I'm sure they will let us know. I mean, how excited? We should put the question to you, Lottie. How excited are you to finally see Linda Caicedo perform at Emirates Stadium?
You know what? I'm doubly excited because I've never actually seen Caroline Weir live either. So I'm very, very, very excited for this first experience. I've been watching Linda Caicedo like a hawk since the Australia World Cup. She has been absolutely brilliant, and I do feel like she does, as a player and the special talent she is, she does deserve to play for a slightly bigger club. But if she's happy where she is and she can perform like she is, and then I just hope Emily Fox isn't as tired as she looked at Real Madrid. I know that's really bad, and I know we've got no rotation for her at the moment.
It didn't help that on the pitch she was fouled and then she slid halfway down the other end of the pitch.
For me personally, she just didn't look right. She looked a lot more rested come Saturday.
She was taken off early. I mean, we've got Caitlin Ford as emergency right back again. But yeah, Caitlin Fox taken off early. Well, I would presume in that game, with this game in mind. But I was with the Liverpool game. We shut off the supply and neutralised Olivia Smith pretty well. And if you're saying that Olivia Smith is like an analogue to Linda Caicedo as a pacey winger / forward, if we could do that.
Physical. I'm really sorry, but she's just not that level of physicality.
Who, Smith?
No, Linda Caicedo. She's not not as physical as Olivia Smith. If you look back at the game at Liverpool, you've got Katie McCabe, and then you've got Olivia Smith. Them two do not like each other. You saw her get the card from where we were sitting. It was just absolutely ridiculous. You will not see that kind of battle up against Emily Fox. Emily Fox needs to keep her wits about her, because I feel like Linda Caicedo is a little bit of an opportunist. The moment arises, she will take it. If she thinks she can do it, she will take it, because that's what she does best. We saw that in against Germany when she scored. So Emily Fox needs to be switched on for the full 90 if she's going to be playing there. And if Caitlin ends up being there, Caitlin needs to be watching her like a hawk as well, because she's going to cause problems. But we can't have all our focus on Linda Caicedo.
No,
there's Atina Del Castillo.
Yeah, I would also keep an eye on.
You've got so many big names on there. We look at the young talent, but you also look at the experience they've got. They're a dark horse for the Champions League.
Yeah. Do you think
it is a worry for them? Just quickly, Adam, before we have your is that they haven't been in this situation before in a knockout stage in the Champions League. Real Madrid's since the introduction of the group stages, they've got into the into the knockouts, and then they've lost. They haven't gone past. So go on, Adam.
I mean, they've not been in a position. They're not been in a position where they could actually get into a semi-final. This is new territory for them. I was going to say the other player I was going to look up for was Leah Williamson, because I think conditions impacted this, but wasn't great in Madrid. There was obviously the mistake for the Caicedo goal. I'm really excited to see how she does in that defence. If she can, because she is on a day a world-class defender, and I would back to be able to pocket Linda Caicedo. I think conditions worked against her. My concern is that Kim Little limped off midway through the second half.
Absolutely.
Hopefully she's back fit. What I would add is with the Real Madrid, we were all quite excited when that draw came out, considering our position, and I was excited because I got to go out to Madrid, which I'd never done before, and I'm not sure whether I'll go again. But do you think there's an element of maybe we underestimated them in that first leg?
100%.
It always annoyed me with the men's that you go into like a Europa League game and it's against, say, Blood Glint, and everyone was going, "Oh, this is going to be a 5-6-0." No, you don't take it. In Europe, you don't take anything for granted.
No.
Like, it could be something so small could make the difference. Like the fact that Alex Scott scored that shot to win the Champions League and it lost over the goalkeeper. It's a game of chances in the Champions League. You don't know what you're going to get. You have to take your chances when you get them. You can't afford not to. So Madrid are going to have to make sure that either they have a plan in place and make sure they perfect it. Are they going to go to a similar strategy like they did against Barcelona, where they go and heavily rely on the counter attack, or are they going to just go out there, try and play their game, and try and hope for a 1-0 win and hope that they shut out Arsenal?
If let's go into hypothetical, which I don't like because it's jinxing stuff, and obviously Lottie hates my jinxes. Obviously, the FA Cup's gone and the League Cup's gone, and we're not going to win the WSL. But if we were to say finish second, which I don't think is beyond the realms of impossibility, obviously Man City lost again, so they're falling even further away from us. Like, I can't remember what the gap is now. They are 8 points behind us, are they?
Yes.
Well, okay, so it's between us, pretty much us and Man United to claim second, and we're tied at the moment. If we were to finish second and we were to get to a semi-final, if we were to pull this rabbit out of the hat and we win, but let's say we go out in the semi-finals, but would you still look back on this season and think it was a success, or literally it's a positive season, or we're going a positive way? If we were to basically do like we got to Wolfsburg in the ACL season and we got to semi-final and we look back on that quite fondly, would you think, yeah, we had a good go at it, we didn't win any trophies, but we had a pretty strong season if we were to finish second and get to a semi-final in Europe?
Lottie, because you're going to think about it. Do you want me to go first?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. I mean, you look back where we weren't functioning under Jonas to where we are now. We're a completely different team.
Yeah.
I remember the day that Jonas we knew he was leaving. Someone else watched him walk down the tunnel. But throughout that game, he was sitting there arguing with Rene. At this point, I didn't know who Rene was.
No,
I just knew she was about coaching staff. And he was arguing with her. She was telling him to make the changes, and he point blank refused to listen to whatever she was saying. So I'm gonna say yes, because I'm much happier with the football right now than I was back then, especially at Chelsea at the Emirates.
Yeah, it's interesting that since that game, only in the league we've only lost one game, and that was at Stamford. In the league, obviously we've had the cup exits, but we've only lost one game, and that was at Chelsea. We've only dropped 5 points.
Only just lost. Come on.
Yeah,
just.
It was very, very marginal. Our form's been strong, even despite the Meadow Park pitch has been, hence the 4-point margin wins at home. For me, I would say it could be, but it also depends on how this form flows into next season. And the analogy, as I love my history, the analogy I'll draw is when when Joe Montemuro came to Arsenal, and midway through a season, and the runner form was strong enough to get them back into European contention. They unfortunately fell short, but that momentum carried into the next season, and they obviously won the league. So I would be intrigued to see if we can get a really strong run all the way up to the end of the season. If we go deep in Europe, I mean, what will happen will happen. We're unbeaten in quarterfinals at Emirates Stadium, it should be said. One win and a draw, so we can get a positive result if need be. But if we were to get to a semi-final when all bets are off and finish second in the league, you'd have to say we've really done a pretty good job. because considering actually where we were, yeah, hopefully if that's how it finishes, I'll be quite happy with the season, but not obviously not happy, not happy till not happy to not win a trophy. It makes sense. I would love a trophy, but I would hope that it's a stepping stone to something even better next season.
I think for me, it's got to be debatable because you don't know what's happening off the pitch as well as on it. So on the pitch, yes, it's good, it's progress, but at the same time, contracts are running out, and there's been no news on that front. So
I think that would tell a lot. The summer
that's it.
If it would.
So
who stays.
When we start to wind towards the last couple of matches, that's when the news starts breaking out. Oh, so and so's signed a contract. I think we've got about 6 or 7 contracts up for renewal, or whether or not they're going to leave.
At least with the Lionesses, we know contract talks will be wrapped up before the Euros.
Yeah,
because Serena will not have that hanging over a player's head.
But I would also
after Alessia, the Lionesses at a minimum will be sorted. Or where they are next season, I think.
I would also say players not signing contracts is not necessarily a bad thing either. I think there would be a benefit to some players. For Arsenal,
some of them are going to definitely leave. Don't we? We know at least 4 of them will.
It would be beneficial for Arsenal if they, if they looked carefully at the squad and says, right, this is where we are now. Who do we need, and who do we need to replace? And I think that's why this summer, we could have as much great momentum as we could have from this season, but it could all be lost if we mess up the summer window. So that is obviously the next step. It will certainly give us the opportunity. I would say this season's the perfect advert for what we could be, and hopefully we'll draw fresh players in, and hopefully give the club the confidence to back Rene. Fingers crossed.
Let's just quickly talk about them, just quickly, yes or no. If the summer doesn't go according to plan, I know I'm touching wood here that it doesn't, but will a certain director of football be questioned? Well, not director of women's football.
Okay, well, should we say the position you are suggesting? They are not the director. They are the general manager of. There we go.
I was close enough.
Well, yeah. The problem is there is a technical difference, because one of the things that Jonas suggests
technical this, that, the other. But she's the head of women's football.
Children.
I would just say, in Jonas's interview he did when he joined San Diego Wave, and he was talking about one of the regrets he had is that there was not a technical director of football. There was not a player that handled that aspect of that role separately to. Let's abandon the pretense. You can see it. We know general manager is Claire Wheatley. She has a role that she fulfills in the club, but the club has expanded so much that really she needs more assistance. And I think Edu gave her that when he was there, and obviously he's departed. We have a new director of football coming in the summer. We believe there's obviously strong rumours who that person might be. I think someone with a director of football knowledge would be beneficial to work alongside her to handle that aspect, because we've seen a lot of transfer fumbles, so we say, and mixed messages coming out of the club. And I think there are aspects of the role maybe better managed by somebody else. So that could be somewhere Arsenal will look to recruit in the summer. I don't think I can't see a detriment for that kind of person in that capacity not being there, shall we say, or detriment. Sorry, I can't see detriment of a person being there, should I say?
So the short answer is yes.
I think we should get a director of football. I'm not as an addition to the current setup. Yeah.
No, there's a lot of discourse amongst the Arsenal fans with Claire Wheatley already. Put it this way, Arsenal's positive PR stunts didn't work. They did not work. I might not be on Twitter every day, but I see things, and it's not a great picture. And it just puts me off going back on social media, full stop. But yeah, no, if it does go belly up, so to speak, they will be calling for a head again.
Yes. I always say with Claire, I know she's deeply unpopular with the fans, and I have a huge amount of sympathy both with the fans, but I also feel a bit bad towards Claire, because having seen what Claire did for Arsenal as a player, she was a really great player for Arsenal. She won Arsenal trophies. She is up there with the likes of the Kiara Grants, the Yvonne Tracy's, the Mary Phillips, the underrated players. You know, she wasn't a blockbuster player like an Alex Scott or a Kelly Smith or Karen Carney, but she did great things at Arsenal to get them to where they are now. And sadly, her reputation has been, you know, destroyed by how the club has been run since she's taken over this role.
It has, but it's also a generational thing. This is
Yeah.
why you have the archive,
Yes,
because there's certain people who haven't seen the archive
and
haven't seen what she's done.
Yeah,
it's irrelevant to them.
Yeah,
and that's a sad fact.
But I would also add, on the flip side of that coin, is that as great she was as a player, obviously this is a different role she's in now, and she's been in this role since 2014. Absolutely. She's been in this role since, that's a long time. You know, that's over 10 years she has been at the helm in this position. And I mean, the amount of managers we've had turning over that time, in any sort of management, at some point you would have that change of personnel anyway. Not saying it's anything good or bad, but just to keep things fresh, you would, you know, someone would move on, someone would come in, and she's very much a hangover from an old era where the players would also be staff, and maybe that needs to be looked at. But again, that's a question for summer.
Well, we'll probably have this conversation further down the line, maybe in the summer. But for now, we are going to round up. So where can the lovely people, Adam, find you?
If you want to find me, you can find me at Adam_Salter4 or Adam-Salter4, depending on the social media platform, on Instagram and Twitter and Blue Sky. And you can find us, Lottie very kindly name dropped. You can find the archive, the Arsenal Women Archive, on the Twitter and Blue Sky and YouTube. And of course, you can find our podcast that you are listening/watching on YouTube and on the Twitter at VAW Pod, and on Instagram as well, where we drop all our updates there as well.
Our podcast is also on Apple Podcast and Spotify. Lottie, where can lovely people find you?
They can find me at Lottie_AWC on Instagram, occasionally on Twitter, but I'm not always there.
And you can find me at MattLR28. You can also find me on Substack there's no at, it's just MattLR. Until the next time, come on, you Gunners.